Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday and welcome to Facebook Live Coffee Talk. And today I have a really good friend of mine, and his name is Aditya Guthey. He's an engineer by craft who worked his way to become a senior engineer at companies like eBay and Verizon. And with his inspiration from his wife, he actually later became a certified as executive coach. And the path that took him to uncover the potential as a Rockstar speaker come from the fact that he started his journey as an executive coach. And today he has won several prizes at the district champion at Toastmasters, and he's a keynote speaker. So please join me and welcome Aditya to the show. Yay, Aditya, thank you for coming to the show.
Thank you for having me, Michelle.
Tell us about yourself.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you for having me, Michelle. It was such a great experience. It's a great experience to be on your show. About myself. So I'm originally from India. I came to US to pursue my college degree and eventually landed a job as a software engineer. I worked for companies like Verizon, eBay. And all throughout my career, I enjoyed when I was doing my software engineering job. I totally enjoyed what I did, and in fact, I thought I'm going to become, the highest level of a software engineer is to become a chief technology officer. I'm like, I want to become a chief technology officer. I think that's my goal. It made a logical sense to me that if you love what you're doing, you become the best of what you can be, which is a chief technology officer. So I have taken several steps to do that. Like I was trying to learn new technologies, build some great products, maybe get an MBA degree, but nothing happened. I'm like, why is this thing not happening? I want to just get to do a great B school. Why am I not able to build these new products? And what it came down to is I realized I didn't have a lot of passion for it, and deep in my heart I craved for something very different. And I realized over time that there is something else, like I said, which I deeply wanted. And I realized that, sorry, I'm being a little distracted with some noises out here. So what the trigger point happened when my wife has introduced me to coaching. I'm like, what is coaching? Initially from a logical mind, it did not make sense to me. But then once I started experiencing it, I started seeing transformation. I started tapping into something beyond logic, which is intuition. And that's when I realized, what I really want to do is being able to connect with people at a deeper level. And engineering job, even though it allows me to use my problem solving skills and logical skills, I'm not able to have access to connecting with people at a deeper level. So I started following my intuition and my heart, and that's what led me to pursue a career in public speaking and coaching engineers. So that's when I decided, in September 2019, I took a leap of faith and said, I want to do this full time. I'm having so much fun from doing it. And even if nothing happens, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, is to coach people and speak in front of audiences to inspire them.
And thank you so much for sharing it, because I think we summarize our life basically in a couple of sentences, what you just said. But I'm sure through that process there's a lot of struggles and challenges and happiness and all that mixture of emotion. It's happening over a span of a year. And I just wanted to go back a couple of things that you have mentioned earlier, that you came to United States to pursue your college degree. So what was it like when you first got to the United States, coming out, I'm an immigrant as myself. So I know that journey of coming to a new country and, having to say goodbye to our friends we're in our country and going to an entirely different world, different field, different culture. What was it like for you when you first got here?
Wow, that's a great question, and it's been a long time, and no one has asked me this question ever. So, it was really exciting before I took the flight, because when I came to United States, that was the first time I'm actually sitting on a flight. Before that, I would be like looking at these airplanes. How does it feel to be sitting in one of them? Is what I always wondered as a kid. I would see them in the sky, but so it was super exciting. Just getting on the plane and going to this dreamland called United States. But after coming here, it wasn't that. I mean, for the first few days, I mean, of course, I mean, you're seeing all these nice little things and the architecture, the cars, and the infrastructure was outstanding. But then, there's also this. I came in 2008. I stepped into this country, the economy went down. I'm like,
so you're the reason why it went down.
yeah, possibly. I'm like, what is going on? And all my family members are like, oh, you're never going to get a job in the United States and all these things. But what's going to happen to you, you have to come back and everything. But it was a scary part, and especially being an immigrant and coming from a third world country, supporting myself with whatever the educational money I have was really tough. So that was my initial experience, but things changed after I graduated in 2010, and I was so focused on finding my first job. Things changed after that, but during my college years, it was a tough time with a lot of uncertainty.
I'm sure it was a lot of, well, as you mentioned, uncertainty, and also, just the fact that this is a different world, different country. You were amazed by how much new things and exciting that's going around you. But at the same time, there's that point of, am I gonna find a job? What do I do?
Right.
With the money that you have.
Yeah.
And you mentioned logical mind versus intuition. Like what's the difference between a logical mind to you? Like what does logical mind means?
Yeah, logical mind to me means thinking from a step-by-step process. What do I do after step one? Logically, what needs to happen? Step two, and everything makes sense to human brain. In terms of a logical sense, you can reason, you can explain to people why certain things happen, and that to me is logical. When you're problem solving, you're doing it from a logical standpoint. Like when you're problem solving, you do step one first. If that doesn't work, do step two next, and there's a sequence of steps you follow to solve any problems, and that's pretty logical. And if you learn logic, I mean, anyone can do it. You can teach a computer to do that logic if you know what the logic is. That to me is logical.
So how does having that intuition, and you mentioned a couple of times that you had that logical mind, before you were engineer, and of course things are very structured, very concrete. And when your wife introduced you, that when you didn't find the passion, and your wife talked to you about the coaching, and you start to developing that intuition, what was it like? What was that change? Because going from intuition to logical, that's like complete two different extreme, right?
Yeah, it is completely different, two different extremes. And being an engineer, I did not get what she was talking about in the beginning. To be honest with you, like when we were getting married in our first year of marriage, there's a little ceremony we did, and that costed a couple $1,000. And then she said she wanted to join this coach training program. I'm like, how much does it cost? And she goes like, $17,000 something. I'm like, I told you, my friends told me not to get married because marriage is an expense. So I'm like, the first fight we had is about this coach training program. Why would she enroll in something, a coach training program, and especially in the first year of marriage? And who's going to pay the bills? It's me. But ultimately, I mean, she was. Ultimately, I decided to have her way. All right, let's see how things work out. I gave up on trying to on put my thoughts into her. Let's see what goes on. And what happened is magical. Like 1 year down, I'm seeing this great transformation my wife is having, and I'm like, I wanted some of that. And so I got a coach for myself to experience what it is to be like. And I created certain goals for 6 months, and I've accomplished everything. And his name is Neil Goldstein, and he was one of the first coaches I had. I accomplished everything, all the goals I had, which I was unable to accomplish for the past many years. I'm like, this is freaking awesome. I mean, and this is exactly, I mean, a couple of things I was able to do is to talk to my executives confidently and ask them questions confidently, being able to network with people. These are some of the things I always wanted to do, but never was able to do. And there are some other goals around my projects I was able to accomplish. I probably was switching off in a different direction because your question was intuition.
No, that's okay. Because I can see your logical mind starting to play like step by step. and there's a part where you start describing like how coaching is doing that transformation for you. And I was just really, I'm really intrigued by how transformation happened. And yeah, just carry away. You're doing fine.
Okay. But just going back to the question you asked, that's when I realized that, I mean, the way it's hard to explain coaching to someone because it works on your subconscious mind. It really works on tapping into your intuition as well. And that's when I was able to see that what I really cared for a long time is connecting with people at a deeper level. And I could see how all the exciting moments I've experienced all throughout my last 30 years have something to do with creating these deeper connections with people. And that's all I ever wanted in life. And it is not exactly logical. You can't explain to someone how this makes sense. And you just feel that joy, you just feel energized from doing certain things. And it is not certainly entirely logical. So that's when I started tapping into something beyond logic, that things are not logical. There's also something called feelings. Oh my God, there's feelings.
Oh my gosh. I love how you say
it. Yeah. So yeah, I again, so I've started, and even Oprah Winfrey says that all the major decisions that she makes in her life comes from her heart and not her mind. And she always follows her heart, is what she says. I could never understand it like 3 years ago before I started coaching, started getting into coaching. But I can totally feel that now. And I think right now, majority of the decisions I make are not logical. I quit my job in last September. I don't have a full-blown coaching practice or speaking practice, but I just followed my gut that I feel so strongly about it, that this is what I'm meant to be doing. So I jumped and started into the pool of uncertainties, and I started exploring. And it has been 6 months since I started doing this, and I would say this is one of the best period in my entire life, where I'm experiencing everything to the full. So.
And I think what you brought up is a really good point, because sometimes when for someone who has a really logical mind and who's doing a lot of analysis, so they spend a lot of time thinking through the process, thinking through, what is the next step. So they don't necessarily follow their heart. And part of the reason why they don't follow their heart is because that there's that fear of being not having a full-blown coaching process, not having a full-blown, keynote speaking career. And there's that piece of uncertainty that's hanging out there. So they can't really follow their heart. So what would you recommend, from your personal experience and your journey, what would you recommend to those people who's going through that experience? How do you overcome that hurdle?
Yeah, that's a really good point. And again, there's nothing wrong with logic. It's great. Logic helps protect you. The logical part of the brain says, if you quit your job, how are you going to pay your bills? And that's logic, what logic can say. Right. But your heart says, I want to quit my job and I want to do something. And that's coming from an intuitive standpoint, that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So it's really a balance between that logic versus listening to that intuition. Also, really understanding at a deeper level how true that logic is, because many of the times the logic, as you and I know, Michelle, in the coach, we both went to the same coach training program, mm-hmm. by the way. So we know the logic is sometimes a flawed. It's really bad logic, because we make assumptions, interpretations, and there's limiting belief that comes from. So we want to be really conscious about this logic. As you increase your level of consciousness, your logic becomes clear, and you really know. I mean, many of them really have. I mean, many of the people can afford taking a chance to mm-hmm. pursue something different. They can afford to take a chance at some total uncertain thing that they're about to do. But the logical brain, or some inner blocks that might prevent them from taking that step, the fear of uncertainty, which is not real, that might prevent them. So mm-hmm. it's really getting clear about that and digging deeper into what you really want. Mm-hmm. And again, what you really want, there's also more things. I mean, there are times what you really want might be not what you're actually want, because maybe that's what society wants for you, and you think you want it for yourself. For example, for a long time, I thought for myself that I want to become the CIO. I want to get this MBA degree from some of the top universities, but that's deep in my heart. I really don't care about that. Mm-hmm. What I really care about, again, that's coming from society. Like, if I do this, people will look up to me. But that will never give me fulfillment. And so it's really getting clear about what you want at the people too. So. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And I think what you have just said is actually they call it the holographic thinking, right? It's a triangle that comprises of how motivated we are, how inspired we are. So there's the intuition, there's the logical mind, and there's also emotion that comes, with everything that we do. So if we don't feel connected to what we do, so in your case, you didn't feel connected as being an engineer, and great, you're reaching to the top, but you weren't connected to the fact that you wanted to reach that goal. So of course, you start to get, feeling burned out, frustrated, and your logical mind is just trying to figure out why is it not working, but not realizing that there's an intuitive side that we can connect the whole piece together. And you're absolutely right. And this is all about finding what you want. So in your experience, how do people know what they want? Because I have clients coming to me and they said, Michelle, I don't know. I just don't know what I want. In your experience, how did you know what you want?
Yeah, that's a really tough question. Hey,
I put you on the spot.
There are 4 steps to finding out what you really want. No, I'm just kidding. I wish I know what those 4 steps are. But I think in the simplest way, the first place I would really start with is, what are the times when you are most excited about? And if you can go deeper into what really excites about what you're really excited about a certain thing, I think that will start opening a lot of possibilities that you have never seen. and maybe the first thing that comes about, I mean, when you ask this question to people, oh, I'm most excited about when I was maybe at a big party with friends. Maybe the music, the food, those are the first things that might come to your mind. But if you go deeper than that, there's something else your soul was being joyful about. It is, and you don't know what it is, but it's for me, it would be probably connecting with people, and just, having fun with them and spreading love and joy. That's probably what will make me most joyful. But that's not the first thing I might tell. I might say that the first thing is, oh, the ambience, the food, the music, those are all the external factors. Maybe those are the things too, we don't know. But it's really getting deeper into those exciting moments you've experienced, and I think that's a great point to start. But it's not completely logical.
Yeah.
On how you can,
it's about diving deeper of what you feel. What does what you want bring for you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it satisfaction? Is it fulfillment? Is it purpose? There's something deeper than the outer surface. And what you bring up is a connection. Connection is one of the value that a lot of people want in their life. How do you explore when you work one-on-one with your client? How do you explore in terms of finding their value? How do you go about doing that? What's that process like?
Yeah, that's so it's really, I mean, as coaches, we're empowered to ask them questions that help them dig deeper into themselves. And if a client is interested in really finding them out, and many of the times they come, the engineers I coach, they come to me saying they're burned out doing a certain project. And every time that they experience that, there is some value that is not being honored, that they're doing something that is not in full alignment with who they are. And by exploring that at a deeper level, we can arrive at some aha moments that the clients might not be thinking about ever exploring. And from there, there's a set of exercises I would be doing, which is like a values assessment, which is figuring out what are the top values the client really honors. Is it connection? Does the client value, it could be money. Money could buy them artistic things. Maybe if someone is super artistic, there's nothing wrong with anything, but it's really figuring out what is that sparks my clients. What is that makes them want to wake up early in the morning and say, I'm going to have a great day tomorrow. Yeah. So.
Oh, I love that. Waking up in the morning and feeling, I'm going to have a great day. How beautiful is that, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I'm excited about it. And it's really getting to that point. And there's a series of, questions and, introspective exercises and that we go through in order to get to that point. And it's definitely not a quick fix that I have this 3-step strategy and you can get what you want, right? It's really different for each person.
Yeah, definitely. It's a process. I keep reminding people that it's a process. It doesn't just happen overnight. I mean,
exactly.
You live all your life up until this point. Now you're figuring out that it's not working, and you can't expect me to like fix it, patch it up, and you're all good tomorrow. No, it doesn't work that way. No.
Exactly. I mean, but the results you get from doing this work are going to be sustainable. We can apply quick patches. We can tell you what you have to be doing, but that's going to work for a day or two or maybe a week. But after that, you're going to go back to normal. But because we are trained to help you at a deeper level, whatever the shifts that you're going to have, that those are going to last for the rest of your life as long as you live. And that's the beauty about this process. And I learned this process, and that's when I decided, when I experienced this process for myself, I decided I want to do this for others.
Totally makes sense. And right now you have a huge passion for speaking, and so you're doing a lot of keynote events and keynote speaking. So in terms of like some of the topics that you've been doing, what are some of the areas that you've been speaking about?
I've been speaking a lot about recently on uncovering your full potential as a rockstar engineer.
Mm-hmm.
Because I believe that every engineer has a rock star inside each one of them, but they don't see it. They see themselves as just engineers, but they're more than engineers. They're rock stars if they want to be.
Okay.
And it's about that, how they can find their inner rock stars, so they can live the rock star life, and if they want to, or if they choose to be engineer, how to be a class engineer that they are aspiring to be.
What's a rock star engineer? Because to me, you are a rock star.
uh, uh, uh,
You are a rock
yeah.
star.
I think a rock star engine. I mean, when you think of a rock star, I was speaking to Stephanie Slocum the other day. She's a coach for engineers as well, and she was like, "I love this word." And to me, she was saying, "Rock star means," and when you think of rock star, is a guy who's putting himself out there.
Uh-huh.
He's like fully expressive on the stage. People are loving him. He's doing whatever he wants.
Mm-hmm.
He's not suppressing. He's going to attract the audience who like him. Some might like him, some might not like him, but he doesn't care. He's going to be the person he wants to be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what a rock star means. And engineers, many of the times, as a coach engineer, the biggest block is, if I do this, what will happen? How will people interpret me? Is this going to be successful? Is this going to fail? And they get stuck because because of all the logical inhibitions that the logic is creating inside of them. And so they never explore what it's to be like to do anything and be with anything. They might want to start their own company, but they're afraid about what will happen if this happens. And these are all great questions to ask, but like we spoke about before, there might be too many negative beliefs, and which are not very true, that might be stopping them, and which inhibits them being a rock star and being fully expressive of who they are from deep inside, I think.
So yeah, you are a true rock star. You're owning it on the stage, and you're owning it in the coaching world. And I love how you're expressing that. And you're helping others becoming a rock
star. That's my bigger purpose.
I'm a rock star.
You are like a rock star. I mean, the questions you're asking me, I'm like so excited to answer that.
I'm a good moderator. What do you know?
Hey, you are inspiring the rock star inside of me, and I'm sure that's what you're doing with your clients too.
Let me put on my sunglasses so I could be a true rock star.
And bring that guitar.
Yeah, absolutely. So what is your next step? I know you're actually in Puerto Rico right now.
Puerto Rico right now.
And guys, earlier, and we were just having a little technical difficulty, and as I was connecting to the internet, I heard birds, and there was like a huge, beautiful forest out there. So you're in Puerto Rico right now, yeah?
Yeah. So the next steps. So I took some time off to be in Puerto Rico in the rainforest area, and mainly to just take some time off for myself and write some articles, and possibly a book, with the inspiration from people like Michelle. And after this, my plan is to go back to US and just travel across the country, giving my talk on uncovering your rock star engineer. Wherever I get an opportunity, I would like to speak. If there is 2 people who are listening, I'm speaking.
That's absolutely beautiful. So where can people find you?
So people can find me on whoweare.io. That's one of the websites, and you go there, you will find all my links on social media that you can connect me to. And the second website is, if you're interested in exploring any of my coaching packages, what I offer and everything, you can go to rockstarengineers.com. aditya.engineer.net. Those are the two websites.
Awesome. So I will link them after the show so that people can have easy access. And is there anything that you would like to say to our audience today who's watching the replay? We had to do this recorded because of the technical difficulty. So as the people are watching for the replay, what would be their take-home message?
Good question. I didn't think about it, but what's coming to my mind right now is what I just said around, seeing you're in a rock star. I think there is so much negativity out there in the universe, in the world, which might make you feel like it's not, which might paint a shady picture about the world. Mm-hmm. But I believe deep inside, if you explore, mm-hmm. and you're living a life that you're born to live, which is the rock star life. If you keep bringing that rock star outside, mm-hmm. I think you can see the brighter side of everything that you're experiencing. And when that happens, when you're living a life that you're born to live and you're doing things in line with who you are, nothing else matters. Whatever happens in the world, it doesn't bring you down. You're gonna go at your full speed, mm-hmm. and experience life to the full. So mm-hmm. I think that's the main thing that's coming out of my mind right now.
That's so beautiful, because I think a lot of people get really caught up with that negativity or all the negative things that's going on in the world. And what they don't realize that there is a paradigm shift that's happening right now, that a lot of people are starting to realize that, the life that we used to live is no longer serving us. And so with your help, they bring out their rock star that's already there inside of them. That's so
exactly
beautiful.
And again, coaching is a great profession, and working with a coach like Michelle or myself, I think it's a way to bring that rock star outside, so you can live a fulfilling life, because because everything is inside here. There's mm-hmm. nothing out there. The problems and the solutions are not out there. Everything is inside here, and that's what coaching can bring to every individual. And that's why Michelle and we both are super passionate about doing what we're doing. I mean, Michelle, you do a ton of things, and I'm like, how does she do all these things? She does podcasts, talks, coaching, his job, and she wrote a book.
And well, here's another thing though. Aditya and I are actually part of a bigger program. It's called
World Without Borders.
Yeah, tell us about World Without Borders.
Oh yeah, we can't skip that part. Again, with coaching again, this is completely coming from an intuition. I experienced this, and for a long time I thought I don't belong in this planet, because of all the limiting beliefs I had around my skin color, how I looked. I never thought I could connect. I'm worthy of connecting with people at a deeper level. But then coaching taught me that everyone has these limiting beliefs, and we're all one and the same, and that these borders and discriminating others is what separates us. But if you remove all these things and you pursue the truth of who you are, we will all come to a conclusion that we're all one, and there's no difference between you and me, and everyone is the same. You can be whoever you want. You don't have to be anyone you don't want to be. And that's where I want to use coaching to create a world without borders. Mm-hmm. That's the idea came out, and people resonated with it. Michelle resonated with it. We're all working on this program right now. And there's another
coach,
beautiful woman called Christine Johnson, mm-hmm. Who's also part of this big project. And there were many coaches before us who were part of this. Mm-hmm. But it is going to be launched soon to bring that to the world, a coaching program to create a world without borders. might not make sense logically. How can you use a coaching program to create a world without borders? And like we've been talking about, Michelle, many things do not make sense. And this is one of the most exciting projects, and so glad to be working with you, Michelle, on this.
Yeah, we've been meeting every week, and Aditya and I kind of and of course Christine, and if you go back to my last week's coffee talk, I actually had Christine on the show, and she's an amazing woman, and we're all creating this world without border together, and the program is really to help the whole entire community, even our society, to bring everyone together, to let go of our limiting beliefs and all the things that was no longer serving us, that separate us from each other, and we're bringing everyone together through our coaching skills and all the practices that we teach and share. The idea is bringing everyone together. It's that connection that Aditya was talking about and sharing earlier.
Yeah,
well,
you said it perfectly.
Thank you so much for coming to the show, and it's been a great honor, and I really look forward to creating more great stuff with you, and I hope that your speaking journey is going to the Rockstar level. What's your website again? Can you just say that again? Your website?
It's two different websites. If you just want to learn about me and just find some articles and some helpful material, it is www.whoweare.io. The second website is a website where you can find coaching packages and anything if you're interested in coaching, and that's rockstarengineer.net.
Love it. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you guys for watching today's live show. And just one last thing before everyone go, if you're looking for ways to connect with other business owners and building up your confidence in public speaking, then check out my community at the Confidence Lab for business owners to increase confidence and visibility. I will thank you again, Aditya, for coming to the show.
Of course. It's such a pleasure being on the show, Michelle. I had a lot of fun just to be on the show. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Of course.